Hey guys, welcome to another speed build. I hope you're all having a fantastic day and happy Friday. Today, I feel like is the perfect day to start a brand new series, and I'm super excited about this series, by the way, and I feel like you guys are going to really enjoy it as well. So a couple of weeks ago, started saying on my channel that if you have any sort of like building requests, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I never thought that I would have gotten as many as I have, and I felt like it was more than enough for me to start a brand new series of building my subscribers' requests. And this just seems like so much fun. And so going forward, if I do have a request, hopefully I'll get them enough to be able to post it once a week. And if I do, then they will be posted on Fridays. So if you have a request for me of a build that you would love for me to build, feel free to leave it down below on any sort of video. This video, another video, I see all of my comments, and so more than likely I will see your request. And so definitely leave those down in the comment section. I would love to read them. I have so much fun building y'all's requests. It gives me ideas and it just gives me a chance to kind of interact with you guys. So definitely leave them down below. So for our very first video of the series, I am building an apartment here in Evergreen Harbor, and this was requested by Simnay, who you can see on the screen. So a big thank you to Simnay for requesting this build. I had so much fun building it. I really hope you enjoy watching it, and I hope it meets your expectations as well. So Simnay gave me a couple of guidelines to go by. They wanted it to be in Evergreen Harbor, preferably, and they also wanted me to keep the windows as they were, and I assume the door too. I'm not sure if you can move the door. I don't think you can, but I went ahead and just left that in place too. And they also wanted it to be 3 bedrooms, preferably each bedroom with a window. So I decided to go through each of the apartments in Evergreen Harbor and choose the one that I thought had the best chance to develop a 3-bedroom floor plan. And so I ended up choosing this one, and you can see the specific apartment up in the top left-hand corner. And other than those guidelines, they really didn't leave anything else. So I figured I'm just going to furnish it exactly how I want it to be. So I decided to furnish it for a single mom. I absolutely love to do like single mom builds, whether it's houses or apartments. And since this is the first apartment that I'm building on my channel, I don't think I mentioned that. This is the first apartment that I'm building on my channel. So I really wanted to do it on a theme that I really enjoyed doing. And so I decided to do a single mom. Obviously, if you have 2 parents, they could totally fit in this apartment too. I did put a double bed in the bedroom, so it could fit 2 Sims. I just really like the theme of a single mom. I think it's super cute. And then I'm able to do the apartment like super feminine, and I love that. So there's lots of like pinks and like blues, like a turquoise aqua type of blue all around the apartment. The apartment is very, very colorful. There's yellows, there's greens, and I absolutely love the way this apartment came out, and I really hope you guys do too. As far as loading it onto the gallery, I am using platforms, but in order to download it as one piece, I had to make it all one level. So if you do download this and you love the floor plan and you love the platforms how I have it, you will have to adjust the platforms in your game yourself. Unfortunately, but that's just how the game is. But at the end of the day, it's not too big of a deal. You could just refer back to my video and you can pause it on a part that shows the floor plan, and you can just copy what I have. Like, it should be fine. If not, then it's still playable as one level. It's really not too big of a deal. I just love the platforms, and so I ended up using them. I also ended up having to remove the walls where the doors are. So where each door is going to each room, I just removed the wall. And so if you download this, you'll have to put the wall back and then repaint that wall, but it's super easy. I'm sure if you guys love apartments, then I'm not the first person you've downloaded an apartment for on the gallery, so you probably know the drill. But I wanted to let you guys know, for those of you that might not know, and if you want to download your very first apartment, that is what you're going to have to do once you download it. So it won't be exact, but it will be super easy for you guys to adjust back to the way it should be. And if you do want to download this, it's labeled as single mom apartment on my gallery. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to leave them down in the comments, and most likely I'll see it. I see all my comments. I respond to all my comments. So yeah, feel free to leave them and I will try my best to help you out. So I realize now that I never really talked about my thoughts on the floor plan. I know it's a little bit of a different floor plan, but since I could not move any windows, I kind of had to work with what I had. So we have the front door. Let's start there. And then we have like a hallway leading to this kitchen and dining room area. And on both sides of the hallway, I have the two like spare rooms where the kids are. And then you keep walking, you get to the kitchen and dining room, and then we have the bathroom, which is the only bathroom in the apartment. I almost decided to do a second bathroom, but I figured one was plenty for a 3-bedroom apartment. And then you keep walking, you get to the living room, and then from the living room, you can get to the master bedroom. So it's almost like a split floor plan in an apartment. And I know it's kind of different to have like a hallway as soon as you walk in the front door, but I feel like it gives it character. I kind of like it, and I feel like it kind of works. And it was the only way I could figure out how to do 3 bedrooms in any apartment in Evergreen Harbor. So I like it. If you guys don't like it, it's fine. You don't have to download it, but I hope you do. I hope you do like it. If you were able to figure out a different floor plan in this apartment that's 3 bedrooms with a window in every room, and it's better than this, then let me know down below because I'm curious. This is the best I could come up with. So now that we have discussed all of the different features of the apartment, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the actual decorations and stuff that I'm using. So in the kitchen, I know we're already done with the kitchen, but there's a couple of things I want to talk about because I actually really love the way that the kitchen turned out, hence as to why it's the thumbnail. I really haven't figured out how to take thumbnails of apartments. I think you just take a picture of the best room, right? I feel like that's what everybody does that does like apartment builds. And so that's kind of what I did. But I love the way that the kitchen turned out. I am using my favorites, well, one of my favorite counter sets from Parenthood. I think this set of counters are just so cute, especially for like family builds. They're just so adorable. I love how like some of the upper cabinet pieces and some of like the island pieces too have like clutter items built into it. So it makes it look a lot more cluttered without you having to add the individual pieces. So I love that. And I love this specific color too. It's like a medium, almost orangish wood, but not exactly orange. And it matches this flooring from Eco Lifestyle like perfectly. I think it complements each other really well. And I almost made this wood throughout the whole apartment, but I felt like it needed to be broken up a little bit. So I decided to put some tile down. Well, technically, that flooring is actually in the stone category, but I feel like it looks like tile. And so I use it as tile. And I have it in the bathroom and in the kitchen. And I feel like it just gives it the extra color that's needed. And so I really like it. And I finally have been able to use the pink swatch of kitchen appliances. I have been dying to use that pink rice cooker ever since it came out. But I usually don't do a lot of like pinks in my builds as far as like the appliances and stuff goes. But I felt like since I'm doing a single mom apartment, what better opportunity would I have other than now to do the pink appliances? And so I did a pink microwave and I did a pink rice cooker, and then just like pink little clutter items here and there that I could find. And I think the kitchen turned out absolutely adorable. On the island, I ended up adding a couple of lunch boxes that I figured were for both of the kids. So as far as the kids' ages, I actually have 2 kids that are sharing one room. I figured they were twins or just super close in age. And then there's an infant in the other room. And so there's a total of 3 kids and then 1 adult in this little apartment. So I feel like that would make some really fun gameplay. So we are now working on Mom's room, and I am using this bed from high school years. I think that swatch is so cute. That bed in general is one of my favorites in the game. I think they have some really, really cute swatches on there. And this little chair is also super cute. I love those sunflowers. I actually forget that that swatch even exists until I use the chair and I'm like looking at each of the swatches to see which one I want to use. And then I come across that one and I remember about it. I'm like, oh yeah. And so I used it here. I thought it was so, so cute. And as far as like the different like features or skill building items go for the Mom's room, I have a TV in here just so she could like go in her room and watch TV and just relax and get a little bit of a break while her kids are in the living room watching like kids cartoons or whatever. She can come in here and watch whatever she wants to watch, and so she doesn't have to go crazy watching cartoons day in and day out. And I also put a computer in here. I figured she probably works from home. Maybe she is a streamer, maybe she is a writer, maybe she's a salary person that works from home, whatever it is. I wanted to give her a desk so that she could have the opportunity to work from home. And I also included some like Sims games on her desk. I figured she's a huge gamer too. That's like what she does as a hobby. And this room, that window, that super long skinny window, gave me the hardest time, okay? As far as the curtains go. I ended up not putting curtains on there because there was none that looked right. So what I ended up doing instead was adding some like fairy lights, and I added some fairy lights on the other window too, just so it matched a little bit. And I did include curtains on the other window though, so I'm not sure if that looks weird or not, but I thought it looked kind of cute. I thought it looked fine. And so, I don't know. There was literally no curtains that I could find for that window. At least not as far as the packs I have installed goes. I've been doing this thing lately where I just choose certain packs to enable on my game and build with those packs. And it's been kind of fun. I don't know. So if you do a request, by the way, and you have certain packs you want to see in the build and like certain packs you don't want to see, you can include that in the request too. I have no problem building with select packs. I actually find it kind of fun. And then it gives me the opportunity to use items that I wouldn't normally use if I have all of the packs installed, because I tend to use the same items in most of my builds just because there's some items that are like I just love, and then there's some items that I cannot stand. And so yeah, it gives me the opportunity to kind of change it up a little bit. So I am now starting on the living room, and as you can see, there is a very, very tiny window in here. I would have loved to have added a couple more of those little squares like right next to that one. But as per the instructions, I was to leave the windows alone, so I went ahead and just left that little one there. And I had to put some sort of curtain or else it looked kind of weird. And I came across this one, and I honestly can't remember which pack that curtain is from, but I love those curtains. I think they're super adorable. I love how it has like little like pom-pom strings tying it up. It's just super cute. I think it's from Growing Together, but I'm not 100% sure. And they have a lot of good swatches, like super colorful swatches. They're kind of large, and so a lot of the time I end up sizing it down like I did here. And I feel like it made the window look a little bit bigger than it really was. I am adding pillows on top of this sectional. I figured this was the perfect opportunity to use this pink swatch on these sectionals. I think it is so adorable. I love it. And I am putting a lot of different pillows on top of the couch, and I'm doing a lot of different colors. Since this is such a colorful apartment, I figured it would be the perfect time to go ahead and do a bunch of different colored pillows on top of the couch. And so I'm doing this beige color, a blue, and a green. I don't know. Do you guys like it? I feel like it's kind of cute. I think it goes with the apartment really, really well. I wish that I would have had, though this one kit has a pillow in it. That specific pillow has different patterns And so I wish I had that kit installed, but I didn't. And so I had to resort to just this solid color pillow. I guess I should have done that other base game pillow that we got recently that had a couple of different swatches with different patterns. It's just a little bit slouchy, a little bit too slouchy. I kind of don't like the shape of it, and so yeah, I don't know. I do like though the different colors that I'm using. I think it ended up being super cute. And then I have the green curtains, I have the walls that are blue and yellow, the pink couch, the yellow rug. I think it all ties together really, really nicely. So I currently have like a single chair on the other side of the living room right in front of the bedroom door. I do end up removing that just because I hated the way it looked in front of the door, and also my sim had to walk around the coffee table like all the way around it in order to get to the bedroom, and I kind of couldn't stand that. I also ended up putting a grabby mat in there, and so it just worked out better to remove the chair. I do think it looked a lot better with the chair there, even though, like, if the door wasn't there, I would have kept the chair there. I like that little hint of pink right there on that side of the living room. I think it really needed it. But overall, as far as the functionality of the apartment, it just made more sense to remove it. I was also so indecisive on what I wanted to put on top of the coffee table in the living room. I resorted to the fishbowl. I really couldn't find anything else better to put there, to be totally honest. That super big square coffee table, I love it, but it is hard to decorate, to be totally honest. But it fits the best when you have a sectional, so I do tend to use the really large squared coffee tables. But yeah, I really didn't have a whole lot to put on there. I almost put that plant from my wedding stories with the candles that I have on the dining table. I almost moved that to the coffee table, but then I couldn't find anything for the dining table. And so I figured let's just put a fish bowl there and call it a day. It's fine. They have a fish, they have a pet fish. So you can't go wrong with that. And not only do they have a fish, but they also have a cat. So I remembered to put the food bowls this time. And there's a scratching post as well as a toy box in the living room. And the litter box is in Mom's bedroom. She's just gonna have to deal with it. And then I have a cat tree in the children's room because that's like the only place I could find to put it. And so I figured they wouldn't care though. They want the cat to be in there. They love their little kitty. And so yeah, this family does in fact have a cat. You could totally have a dog instead of a cat or as well. But I figured since they're in an apartment, it just makes sense to have a cat instead, and then they can just use the litter box. I lived in an apartment when I was about like 21, and I got a puppy in the apartment, and I lived on the 3rd story, and I will never do that again in my life. I learned my lesson. It is not easy to have a dog or a puppy and potty train that puppy while you're on the 3rd story of an apartment complex. That was not fun, and I will never do that again. And so I'm not going to do that to my Sims either. Maybe eventually, I might do that eventually, because there are like little newspaper squares in the rug category that you can put down on the ground. There's like some soiled ones, and I so want to use those at some point. And so I feel like in an apartment would make sense for that, but I didn't want to do it in this apartment. This apartment's too cute to do all that, so they have a cat instead. So I am working on the kids' room, and I have a bunk bed in here. I chose 2 different bed swatches. Well, they're totally different beds actually. The one on the bottom is from Discovery University, and the one on the top I think is from Dream Home Decorator. And I chose the swatches that matched as good as possible, but I really wanted to change it up a little bit for this build. I wanted this kids' room to be a little bit cluttered and colorful at the same time. So as you can see, they have a lot of rugs in here. I don't know, I just kind of went crazy with it. And once I put it down, I kind of liked the way it looked, and so I ended up keeping it. I feel like it kind of added to the clutter vibe. And I also put that clutter piece from Parenthood that looks like it's just a bunch of kid stuff. It's like a book bag, a t-shirt, some paper that's probably their homework, just scattered everywhere on the ground. I love that. And I wanted to make sure that my sim was able to get on the bunk bed with that piece of clutter there. And so I had my sim test it out, and she was able to get up there, so that was good. And I also tested out the computer desk in the mom's room to make sure an adult could actually get up there since it's on quite a few different platforms. And she was, so that's good. Because I really liked the way it looked and I really didn't want to have to change it if I didn't have to. So as far as the skill building items for the kids, I have a creativity table and a mental table in there. And then there is a toy box in the infant's room, and I do end up putting a little grabby mat in the living room. Well, I actually already did. I already did put it in there. And then I do have some little infant slash toddler blocks in the infant's room too. As far as the infant's room goes, I have the crib in here, I have a changing table, the toy box like I said, the blocks, and then I also end up having one of those tall stuffed animals in here too. And we are pretty much at the end of our video for today. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had so much fun building this apartment and doing the very first episode of my brand new series. I hope you're excited for the series. Of course, if you enjoyed this video or if you're excited for the series, please leave a like and also subscribe if you have not already so you do not miss a future episode. Feel free to comment down below if you have any sort of requests you would like to see me build, and be sure to leave any sort of guidelines for me to follow on the build. I hope you all have an amazing day or night wherever you are, and I will see you all in the next one very soon. Bye guys!